Advice. Endless advice. If you have ever felt that advice could be annoying, think about this guy. He had to deal with being force-fed advice from his nemesis.
You, like me, are probably going to get fucked.
The YouTube channel Internet of Bugs is a popular tech-focused channel that has recently been on a Butlerian jihad against AI hype. Imagine his shock when he paid $10,000 to an online consulting firm and they ended up giving him information that seemed to have been just pulled out of ChatGPT.
So I got ripped off by a group that operates here on YouTube to the tune of $10,000 or so and a couple of months wasted. And what's worse, they used AI to do it. So there are people out there who are selling information or coaching or courses, but really what they're doing is just charging hundreds or thousands of dollars for them to run ChatGPT and then pass the output on as if it was valuable. And if they do hide it, and like me, you don't catch it until it's too late, then you, like me, are probably going to get fucked.
It's like John Connor finding out that his online therapist was T-800 all along. I was terribly offended to learn that consulting firms were acting as middlemen between clients and generative AI. So I decided to cut out the middleman and directly ask ChatGPT to coach me. As it so happened, I did have a question that I wanted some help on. I wanted to learn how to record YouTube videos without a script. I was curious if there were any frameworks that I could use for my unscripted yapping. So I asked ChatGPT. Let's see how good its advice is. Alright, so here's the prompt. I want to record talking head video essays. Ideally, I don't want to heavily script the speech. Are there any frameworks I could use to make it clear and engaging? So ChatGPT gets back to me and says, yes, there are frameworks that give you structure without scripting. Okay, that's good to know. And they're especially well suited to the style you're aiming for. Reflective essay rather than YouTube bro energy. Should I be offended? Nah, let's move on. The one thought, many angles framework. You don't need a topic. You need one sentence you actually believe. And the example it gives here is, I think modern life rewards shallow certainty more than honest confusion. Wow. I don't know if this was an actual quote or something that ChatGPT just cooked up, but good one. What's next? The question-driven ramble. I do kind of like this because it gives a set of questions that I can refer to. It looks like it's all about what does this topic really mean to me and what has been my experience in thinking about this topic. But alright, let's move on. Framework number 3, deceptively powerful. So it looks like the basic idea here is to start with a small story, spiral outward, and then the spiral back in returns to the original story, and now we see it differently. It's kind of reminiscent of a hero's journey. I'm not entirely sure how I would be able to do something like this without actually scripting it out. The fourth is the mental chapters method. So here the suggestion is to have 3 invisible chapters, and going through these chapters, you don't announce them. You just know when you've moved on. Who's having YouTube bro energy now, huh? So they have 2 more frameworks for us. The rule of honest drift. Every drift must eventually come back to why this matters to you. Say something like, the reason this actually bothers me is... That line alone rescues 80% of rambling videos. The last one that ChatGPT has shared is the minimum prep ritual. 10 minutes max. Okay, no outline, no beats, no bullet paragraphs. And it tells me this in this response full of bullet points and numbered lists. Wonderful. You know, actually, I've always felt that bullet points are really underrated. It's my humble opinion that they're a convenient way to organize text to make it easy to consume. Not sure why they sometimes suffer a bad reputation. Let's move on. Oh, how nice. It's giving me a quick reassurance. And it's important. Casual, unscripted video essays don't fail because they're messy. They fail because we don't know what we're circling, we are afraid to pause, or we never reveal why this matters to us. Okay, I suppose that is fair advice, though I'm not sure I'm a big fan of trying to make every topic personal. I do recognize that that can often be effective for storytelling, especially on a casual platform like YouTube. So I did ask a follow-up question, which is for the question-driven ramble, share a list of questions that would be effective across a variety of topics. Great choice. It is kind of funny that ChatGPT is tuned to be flattering, but hey, I don't mind a few kind words here and there. So it actually gave me a list of questions, though it said, think of these as mental levers, not a checklist, whatever that means. Personal anchor questions. These make the video feel human immediately. Good advice from an AI. If you answer only one thing honestly, answer one of these. Feel free to be dishonest about everything else. Second, observation questions. These seem to be more about noticing patterns and contradictions. Makes sense. Misunderstanding and friction questions. Looking through these, it seems kind of similar to the second set of observation questions. I'm not really sure what ChatGPT is trying to add here. And then self-doubt and uncertainty questions. These dramatically increase trust and watch time. ChatGPT really knows what a YouTuber wants most. Then zoom out questions. This is when you want to look a little wiser and give the big picture view. Consequence and trajectory questions. And I like this bit. You don't need answers. Speculation is enough. That sounds a lot like edgy influencers saying, hey, I'm just asking questions. And finally, return to self. Closing question. End without concluding. Okay. These seem to be largely about our final takeaways, things that we feel have not quite been resolved yet. And the one final tip that our AI coach would like to give us is that if we ever freeze on camera, say this out aloud. I don't fully know the answer yet, but here's what I'm circling around. So the next time you hear me say those words, you know where I learned it. Alright, so that's what ChatGPT had to suggest. Now, as with most things that I see when we ask generative AI, it appears to be generally reasonable, but you do get the sense that there are only a few useful takeaways that I get for such prompts. I can totally understand why Internet of Bugs was totally bugged out when they felt that their consultants were just giving them AI answers, because at least as of today, it is very rare that what AI provides is an effective solution to your questions. So what I would say is that asking ChatGPT for advice or coaching feels like a slightly faster internet search. But ultimately, we need to apply an enormous amount of judgment before adopting any of its recommendations. This has been my experience over trying similar exercises with ChatGPT in the past. If you had any opinions, do let us know in the comments. Alright, hope that was interesting. See you in the next video.